We have landed in Dubrovnik. Our first stop is city's beautiful old town. Then we're going to do a short trip to the island of Lokrum, followed by wine tasting in a local winery. We're going to finish the day with a sunset on the mountain above Dubrovnik. Hello everyone, I'm Rihanna. For the next 10 days, I will be exploring Croatia. There will be islands, national parks, amazing food, local people, adventures, and much more. Come and join me. Our local guide today is Eva, and she's going to show us all the cool parts of the city only locals know about. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, welcome to my hometown.
So what is the best thing to do when you come to Dubrovnik?
You just can't skip the old town. This is just everything that Dubrovnik is about is in this old city. People still live here. There is around 700 people that currently live in the old part of the city.
So what are the best 5 things to do in the old town?
I would say city walls. There is also some beautiful museums like History Museum. You can't skip having a coffee on the main street. That's what all locals do every morning. It's really important part of our culture. You can also see a lot of churches, walk through churches, and of course our old city harbor is very beautiful.
When would you suggest people to come to Dubrovnik? Is it like summer?
I would say more spring and fall, definitely avoiding July and August. That's the biggest crowd. Dubrovnik is much more beautiful in May or October.
Okay, last few years Dubrovnik is super popular for filming of Game of Thrones. It's known as King's Landing in Game of
Yes,
Thrones.
that's become our second identity. We represented King's Landing for 7 seasons, since season 2 till season 8 in Game of Thrones. There is a lot to see involved with Game of Thrones and Dubrovnik around the city.
Is that like the most popular tour in the town?
I would say people tend to do mixed tours, a little bit of history, a little bit Game of Thrones. The biggest number of people goes to the combined tours.
So apart from doing the city walls, walking the city walls, we should do the Game of Thrones tour as well, right?
Yes, of course.
Let's start exploring the
Let's
spots.
do it.
After visiting the old town in Dubrovnik, we took a short boat ride to the island of Lokrum, famous for its botanical garden and Game of Thrones sites. There's a legend saying that the island was actually cursed by its first owners, and you can learn all about it in the Museum of Islands History, placed right next to the Museum of Game of Thrones.
We have a beautiful Iron Throne replica. And there is a couple of things like in the windows. They made the whole room look like a Game of Thrones, so you feel like you entered the throne room.
I'm not surprised because it's so beautiful.
It's amazing. It's a perfect movie set.
Absolutely, the natural one.
Very natural.
I've heard it so many times, people saying and explaining Lokrum as a little piece of heaven, like a little paradise. I know it's stunning, but why do they kind of think of it like of Lokrum?
Well, first things first, it's never too crowded. That's the best thing about this island, is that you can find peace just 15-minute boat ride from the city. We have a botanical garden, we have peacocks and bunnies running around. You can just hear the nature all around you, and it's a very calming place to be. Dubrovnik is a city full of sailors, and they sailed all around the world, and they used to bring plants. So the Benedictines put plants in the little botanical gardens, so we have a lot of type of plants that usually do not grow in Dubrovnik naturally.
Apart from nature and museums, you can spend the day on the island just chilling on beautiful beaches or sipping cocktails. It was time to go back to Dubrovnik to explore some more. I said goodbye to Eva and went to enjoy different sides of amazing Dubrovnik. After an exciting day of wandering around the old town, I was hungry. And I decided to take Eva's advice and went to Konavle region for a good meal. I've learned today that people from Dubrovnik come to Konavle for good olive oil and for good wine. But what is typical dish here? What do you love to eat in Konavle?
Well, there's few typical dishes, but pasticada is something you need to try.
What exactly is pasticada?
Pasticada is a meal prepared from beef meat, different spices, some bacon, carrot, whole preparation takes almost 2 days, and you're a lucky one. Today we have some pesticada for you.
Okay, awesome. After the delicious meal, I had to try some of the local olive oil and wine. Croatia is in general popular as a country with the good quality olive oil. And when talking about Konavle region, it's a really good region for one of the best olive oils in Croatia. How come and what is so good in Konavle region?
Well, since we are situated in the most southern part of Croatia, we have beautiful Mediterranean climate and a lot of sun, so our olive oil has a really special taste and flavor.
So what's the best way to kind of try the olive oil? Is there like a procedure, what you need to do? How do you do it?
Usually we offer a homemade cow cheese, which is very mild, so you can really taste olive oil, and also bread. Maybe bread is the best way to try it. If you really like olive oil, then you can drink it.
I didn't need to sip some olive oil to know that it truly was a good one. Plus, I was ready for more than a sip of a good wine. Mountains on one side, sea on the other, great valley with many vineyards in between. What types of wines do you have here?
So we have many different types of wine, but two are dominant. One is red, one is white. So white is a very old variety that we have here in the Dubrovnik area. It's been here since 1383. The other one is Plavac Mali. It's the best red grape in Dalmatia, grown all over Dalmatia, which has its connection with Zinfandel. So about 15 years ago, scientists from UC Davis in California and Zagreb in Croatia actually discovered that Zinfandel originated from Dalmatia. Because of that, they also taste a little bit the same.
As a perfect closure of the first day, we chased the best sunset spot in Dubrovnik, the Mountain of Srce above the city. At the end of a magical day in Dubrovnik, it's really hard for me to decide what I loved most. Was it a perfect getaway to the island of Lokrum, or delicious food in Konavle, or maybe just enjoying the old town? There's one thing I am sure about. I can't wait tomorrow when we're going to be exploring all these awesome islands behind me. And locals were right. The best way to end the day is just enjoy this beautiful sunset.